A piece of waste ground like this is maybe just about the last place you'd expect to find many wildflowers. But in fact the place is full of wildflowers. There are dozens and dozens of species here. In fact you could make an entire series by filming here at different times of the year. And we might start with what from a distance you might think is a clump of oxeye daisy. But this is the end of August, and oxeye daisy is at its best in the middle of summer, and most of it mostly has died back at this stage. But any doubt as to the identity of this plant disappears when you look at the leaves, because whereas oxeye daisy has oval or oblong leaves, you can see the way the leaves here are deeply divided into almost thread-like segments. This is scentless mayweed, a member of the chamomile tribe in the daisy family, and the name sets it apart from other mayweeds, many of which are sweet-smelling while others have a noxious smell. One of the most distinctive things about this, our only Offaly species, is that it has neither. It doesn't have any noticeable smell. Scentless mayweed usually grows where nothing much else grows well, and where conditions suit it, it can be everywhere, without pushing much else out of the way to do so. Here in its native Eurasia it knows its place, as it were, but in parts of the world to which it has made its uninvited way, it can be a very troublesome weed. In parts of North America, for example. Pollen-gathering solitary bees and many kinds of flies are the main visitors. Isn't it amazing that the swaying of the flower stems in the wind doesn't make these hoverflies dizzy, or upset the precision with which their tongues probe for nectar in the tiny florets? Scentless mayweed is also known as corn feverfew, and although it doesn't have the same herbal reputation as the related sweet chamomile, it does have, or at least was once thought to have, its uses. Here in Ireland it was used at one time to treat uterine complaints and to prevent insect bites. Not surprisingly perhaps for what is a somewhat unprepossessing wildflower, there is nothing in the folklore or mythological tradition of Ireland or of Western Europe generally that features scentless mayweed. But it's very different in Scandinavia. In Norway and Sweden the plant goes by the name of Balder's brow. And Balder, as you all know, was the second son of the god Odin. And the plant received its Scandinavian name, Balder's brow, because of the likeness of the bright white flowers to the countenance of the divine Balder. Here on our piece of waste ground we also have a second species of mayweed, and this is a species which is much more widespread. It occurs everywhere, particularly on bare ground where the soil has been compacted. And this is rayless mayweed, or pineapple weed. The rayless part of the name comes from the fact that it has dispensed with the white ring of outer petals, and the pineapple is a reference to the scent of the crushed inflorescence. It can be used to make salads and a herbal tea, but is at its best in this regard before it produces its flowers. One of the most interesting things about pineapple weed is that it has the reputation of being one of the fastest spreading plants of the 20th century. It's actually native to northeastern Asia, and it was first recorded here in Dublin in 1896, having travelled via North America in poultry feed. But by 1930 it was recorded in every county in Ireland. It was everywhere. And it had spread not by the wind or using animal vectors as so many other wildflowers do, or by using its own power to catapult itself into new habitats. It spread on the treads of motor car tyres, motor vehicles being the mode of transport that at that time was spreading right across Ireland.